In the realm of science fiction, there's a thin line between prediction and reality. George Orwell's 1984 may be closer to the latter than you think. Over 7 decades ago, a man named Eric Arthur Blair, better known by his pen name George Orwell, penned down a novel that would go on to become a timeless symbol of dystopian literature. 1984, as it was titled, was more than just a gripping work of fiction. It was a stark warning, a dire prophecy of a future we might find ourselves in if we let our guards down. The world Orwell created in 1984 was a nightmare of totalitarian rule where every facet of life was controlled and manipulated. This dystopian society was characterized by constant surveillance, unending propaganda, and the crushing of individuality. But it wasn't just a work of wild imagination. Orwell drew parallels from the socio-political climate of his time, extrapolating trends to their most extreme conclusions. Let's talk about surveillance. In 1984, Big Brother, the omnipresent figurehead of the party, watches over every citizen through telescreens. These devices not only transmit information but also capture it, effectively turning every living room into a potential stage for the government's prying eyes. Then there's propaganda. The party in 1984 controls every piece of information, rewriting history, manipulating facts, and shaping public opinion to serve its own ends. Orwell's depiction of this manipulation of truth is eerily reminiscent of the fake news phenomenon we grapple with today. And finally, the suppression of individuality. In Orwell's dystopia, the party suppresses individual thought and expression to maintain control. The concept of thought crime, holding unspoken beliefs or doubts that oppose or question the party, is chillingly relevant in today's polarized world where dissent is often discouraged. Orwell's 1984 is a dark mirror of our society today, reflecting a future that seems all too familiar. As we delve deeper into this Orwellian reality, let's remember that 1984 was not meant to be an instruction manual, but a cautionary tale. The future is not set in stone, it's in our hands. Ever feel like you're being watched? In Orwell's world, Big Brother is always watching. Today, it may not be far from the truth. Orwell's dystopian vision of a society under constant surveillance is chillingly reminiscent of our contemporary world. Imagine a world where every street corner, every public space, even our own homes, are under the watchful eye of an omnipresent entity. This was the reality of the inhabitants of Orwell's Oceania, a world where privacy was a forgotten concept. Fast forward to our era, and we find ourselves living in a world not too dissimilar. The proliferation of CCTV cameras is a testament to this. They are our silent observers, capturing every move, every interaction, in the name of safety and security. From the streets of London, with an estimated 500,000 cameras, to the bustling streets of Beijing, surveillance is the new norm. But the surveillance state extends beyond what's visible to the naked eye. It has seeped into the digital realm. Our online activities, our digital footprints are tracked, recorded, and analyzed. Every search query, every website visited, every online purchase, they're all pieces of a larger puzzle that is our digital identity. This data collection is pervasive. Technology giants, with their seemingly innocuous services, have become the new Big Brother. They map our interests, our habits, our relationships, creating a digital profile that's as unique as our fingerprints. And it's not just the corporations. Governments too, under the guise of national security, have been known to tap into this reservoir of information. From the revelations of Edward Snowden to the ongoing debates on privacy rights, the issue of surveillance has taken center stage. In this digital age where our lives are increasingly intertwined with the virtual world, the line between privacy and surveillance is blurred. We willingly trade our privacy for the convenience and connectivity that the digital world provides. Orwell's nightmare of constant surveillance has, in many ways, become our reality. In 1984, Orwell paints a world where the truth is manipulated and history rewritten. Sound familiar? Orwell's dystopia is steeped in the insidious power of propaganda, where doublethink and newspeak are the order of the day. Let's unpack these terms a little, shall we? Doublethink, as Orwell defines it, is the act of simultaneously accepting two mutually contradictory beliefs as correct. It's a form of mental gymnastics that allows the ruling party in 1984 to manipulate reality and control the masses. Newspeak, on the other hand, is a controlled language devised by the party to limit freedom of thought. It's a tool designed to constrict, rather than expand, the scope of human communication. Now let's draw a line from Orwell's vision to our contemporary world. We live in an era often dubbed as post-truth, where objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. Sound eerily similar to doublethink? We thought so too. Take fake news, for instance. It's a phrase that's been thrown around quite a bit lately. It represents misinformation or hoaxes spread via traditional news media or online social media. This false information is often presented as authentic news, intentionally designed to mislead the reader, to damage an agency, entity, or person, or to gain financially or politically. In essence, fake news is a modern incarnation of Orwell's newspeak, a powerful tool of propaganda, and it doesn't stop there. Misinformation campaigns have become a common tactic in everything from politics to advertising. These campaigns deliberately disseminate false information to influence public opinion or obscure the truth. It's a chilling echo of the manipulation and control exerted by the party in 1984. In our post-truth era, Orwell's vision of propaganda and manipulation rings alarmingly true. It's a reminder that we must remain vigilant, always question, and seek the truth. After all, as Orwell himself said, "In a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act." Orwell's 1984 depicts a society where individuality is suppressed and conformity is enforced. In our world, this suppression takes on subtler forms. We don't live under a totalitarian regime that punishes dissent with physical brutality, but that doesn't mean our individuality isn't under threat. Consider the rise of cancel culture. It's a trend that has been gaining momentum in recent years, where individuals or groups are ostracized and shamed, often on social media, for saying or doing something that others deem unacceptable. This phenomenon can be seen as a modern form of Orwell's thought crime, where individuals are punished not for their actions, but for their beliefs or expressions that deviate from the norm. And it's not just cancel culture. The very platforms we use to express ourselves can also encourage conformity. Social media, for instance, is designed to reward content that appeals to the majority. The algorithms that determine what we see and what we don't are biased towards popular opinions and mainstream ideas. In this environment where likes and shares dictate success, there's a powerful incentive to align with the crowd and suppress any thoughts that might be controversial or unpopular. This isn't to say that all conformity is bad. Society needs some level of agreement to function. The danger lies in the suppression of divergent ideas, the silencing of dissenting voices, the punishment of nonconformity. When everyone thinks the same, there's no room for innovation, no space for progress. Orwell's 1984 was a warning, a dystopian vision of a world where individuality is crushed under the weight of conformity. Today, we face a subtler, but no less dangerous version of this threat. The suppression of individuality, whether through social pressure or algorithmic bias, can lead to a homogenized society where innovation and progress are stifled. And so while we may not live in Orwell's Oceania, his fears are more relevant than ever. We must be vigilant to protect our right to think, to question, to disagree, because in a world where everyone thinks alike, no one really thinks at all. Orwell's fear of a society that stifles individuality is a cautionary tale for our times. Orwell's 1984 was not just a work of fiction, it was a warning that echoed through time, whispering of a future that seemed so dystopian, it was almost unfathomable. Yet here we are, living in a world where many of Orwell's predictions have become our reality. In our exploration of Orwell's prophetic novel, we've discussed the rise of the surveillance state, the power of propaganda, and the suppression of individuality. The chilling accuracy of these predictions paints a picture of a society that has strayed dangerously close to the Orwellian nightmare. Orwell foresaw a society where our every move is watched, where our thoughts are manipulated by propaganda, where our individuality is suppressed in the name of conformity. Unfortunately, these are not mere figments of a dystopian novel, but realities that we grapple with in our daily lives. Our digital footprint is closely monitored, with our personal information often used without our knowledge or consent. The media, more often than not, is skewed to serve the interests of those in power, manipulating public opinion and suppressing dissent. Individuality is often sacrificed at the altar of societal norms, with those who dare to be different facing ridicule and alienation. It's crucial to recognize these realities for what they are, infringements on our freedom. We must take steps to safeguard our liberties, to ensure that our future does not become a mirror image of Orwell's dystopian vision. This involves being vigilant about our digital privacy, critical of the information we consume, and unapologetic in our individuality. But it's not all doom and gloom. The very fact that we're having this conversation, that we're acknowledging these issues, is a step in the right direction. It shows that we have the capacity to learn from our past, to adapt, and to strive for a better future. Orwell's 1984 serves as a stark reminder of a future we must strive to avoid. The question is, are we listening?